Welcome to Rauta's Inquisition review. Here it is, finally, after months of waiting, Black Mass for a Mass Grave. Now, people have been asking me like when I'm gonna do an Inquisition review out of this newest album of the band, which was anticipated already 2020. And I was like, whenever I get the copy, and now here it is, finally in March. Only 4 months of waiting, basically. Anyway, the band has its struggles past couple of years, and I think that kind of slowed the band down. I mean, they had to step out from Season of Mist roster, and now they are with Agonia Records. And lots of people probably had lots of thoughts about the band, like what's it gonna be because of these legal battles, like can I even listen to them without getting myself stained in doing so, and all that stuff. But I don't know, I'm not gonna so much touch their legal battles. I think they're in the past now, and justice has been served one way or another, and now the band is back after 4 years. Now, the band made an album every 3 years, and that seemed to be very, very much a working tactic for the band. I mean, every 3 years they would put an album out, and it would be, in my opinion, more or less quality. Now, I'm not a big fan of their earlier works. I mean, they're pretty much decent albums. You know, I'm talking about like 4, 5 first albums. But they never did the big trick for me. I mean, they were kind of enjoyable and all that stuff, very listenable, but not really, you know, like wow moments. It was only until the second newest album, Bloodshed, etc., when I was really like, okay, now this is really nailing it, and I'm feeling the love here. I'm really getting into that. So obviously I was expecting a lot from this album. I was anticipating a good album once again. But, you know, sometimes when you have these kind of expectations, you're bound to disappoint. No, obviously I wasn't disappointed. This is a very good album, and in my opinion, one of the better ones by Inquisition. Now, what also kind of scared me right in the beginning was that this was almost 65 minutes of an album, which is usually way too much when we're talking about black metal, well, any kind of metal, to be honest. And you have like 12 tracks here, which are not the shortest type, but that is not really the problem. But I mean, 65 minutes, you really have to have some kind of a killer material to make it worthwhile. Now, the big thing obviously is it? And in my opinion, yes, it is. Now, there are no really peak moments on this album, at least based on my listening times with this one, because this is very, very consistent album in style and quality. That is, there are no low moments, there are no valleys, you know, there are no peaks either. It's just very, very consistent. It's more like a kind of a soundtrack where you don't really even need that kind of a change. You're really enjoying the ride all the way, but it's not like you have those high points and low points and, you know, all that stuff. What is also very interesting on this album, that it's not really that fast. You know, it's most like mid-tempo and slow-tempo parts. And in so many ways, not only tempo-wise, but that included, this album feels like a very dynamic, very organic album, but also kind of easy listening in the terms of black metal. I mean, there is nothing really aggressive, there's nothing really violent on this album, but it's almost like a soothing soundtrack in terms of black metal anyway. And in my opinion, it works for the band very, very nicely. Now, what other thing really contributes to this this kind of a soothing moment, this kind of atmospheric feeling, is that there's lots of interesting melodies, but beyond that, it is like this clean guitar sound, which is like surf rock from the, I don't know, 1960s, I guess, which is there to complement this distorted guitar sound. So it's like very interesting take on black metal, because it's not really sounding raw and violent and aggressive, but not really like, you know, one of those lo-fi bands doing its kind of atmospheric Cascadia black metal or whatever. It's very unique sounding, it's very Inquisition-like, but it's also at the same time kind of a soft. It's soft and beautiful, like, you know, when you would go into some woods where there are no houses, no people whatsoever. And then you have these kind of a granny type of vocals, you know, the kind of old hack with brewing its poison in the woods, you know, once again doing the vocals here. And obviously it's a hit and miss for some people. You know, some people can't stand the dry vocal type what Inquisition is doing. It works for me, but I get it if it's not everybody's cup of tea. Now, in my opinion, this is a really, really good album. Could have been one of the better ones in 2020 for the list of best of 2020, but really didn't arrive in time for that. But be it as it may, it is still one of the better ones in 2020 albums, and even though this is like 4 months now late with that, it doesn't change a thing. It's a very enjoyable album with nice production, nice vocals, and really nice atmosphere. So this is something that I still think people should be listening to, no matter what Inquisition might have done in the before, because in my opinion they have really honed their style, and this is representation of the better part of Inquisition style. That is, at least according to me anyway. I think you should just listen to it and figure out for yourself, is it worth it or not. I think it is, and I hope you will give it a chance. Inquisition is back, and we're happy about it, so give it a listen. And should you have any comments or questions, put them on the comments box below, and I will get back to you.